or not, this valley is a political frontier. This side, England's green and pleasant land. That side, what some see as a red and peasant land, the independent Republic of Clay Cross. You don't actually need a passport to go there, but it's a funny place. Because it's here that 10 men and 1 woman have built a defiant, socialist Jerusalem. Take the kids in that school there. Those kids between 7 years and 11 get free milk just as if Mrs. Thatcher had never existed. Or take their old age pension on the pavement there. He gets free television licenses. If you've got a colour set, he still gets a free licence. Or the corporation workmen, they've just had an increase of 33.33%. Pay pause? Well, that doesn't seem to apply in Clay Cross. And the council houses over there, the rent for those is £1.69, which is about half of what it would be anywhere else in the country. It's this grubby utopia nestling in the Derbyshire hills that has brought the British Labour Party, as one of its former ministers, Lord Kennet, said this week, to a turning point of history. For 15 months now, the Labour Party in Clay Cross has been breaking the law of the land and forcing their friends in Parliament to face the realities of smash-and-grab socialism in a conservative world. This is a part of England where 14 pits have shut down in the past 10 years. Unemployment has sometimes hit 20%. But one thing has stayed constant, the tradition of a company town, the cheap roof over your head and folk at the big house to look after you. Since the coal owners left in the 50s, the bosses have been the workers, miners with no pits to go down. The priorities of a committed left-wing council are plain in anyone's language: work and housing. It all started back in 1962 when Labour took control of the council. Within a few years, they'd knocked down half Clay Cross. Houses like these company houses, one up, one down, without even the luxury of a window at the back. And the people are rehoused in new council houses. But you don't move at that pace without running slap into problems. Problems like an enormous burden of debt and a posse of aggrieved ratepayers. By 1969, the subsidy from the rates to the council houses was 6 times the national average. And most councils will deal with that by increasing council house rents, not Clay Cross. The council said not a penny would go on those rents. The clerk to the council put in constant requests for an increase in council house rents. The district auditor came in with a threat of fines and surcharges, and finally the council budged. But not very far. They put 3/4 of the debt on the rates and only 1/4 on the council house rents. So Mr. Heath and his Housing Finance Act weren't trying anything new in Clay Cross. Others had tried to do the same thing before, and they'd failed too.
Well, I left the party for the financial policies that were carrying out. They suddenly made a decision that council house rents were going to go up again, and as a result of this, the housing revenue deficit went up from approximately £4,000 to £27,000. I thought this was an unfair burden on the owner-occupiers, people struggling to pay the mortgages. I didn't think it was an incentive to attract industry. You can't very well go to an industrialist and say, come to Clay Cross and help subsidise council house rents. And as a result of this, we was also warned that by the auditor that if we continued with this policy, we would cease building council houses, and this has in fact happened.
It all came to a head in the sunny days of October 1972, when the government's Housing Finance Act came into force. As the traffic roared down Clay Cross's main street, the message went out to the government that one part of England would not give way. The standard was calmly nailed to the mast.
We shall not implement the Housing Finance Act in Clay Cross, I can assure you on that.
11 weeks of non-cooperation later, the government fired a warning shot. The district auditor arrived to a predictable reception.
Hey, he never touched him, Tom. He never touched him.
The estimated debt for the first 6 weeks of defiance, £7,000.
My name is Lacey. I am the district auditor. With my deputy, Mr. Pickwell, and a member of my staff, Mr. Ironside, I'm here today to resume the extraordinary audit which was adjourned on the 7th of December.
I think this is the biggest confrontation there's been between any government and the people since 1926. is a coward, a political coward, the biggest since Munich. I have a move in support of the Claycross councillors.
The auditor said, pay up. The 11-man council promptly appealed to the High Court and lost.
I can assure anybody that we carry on as councillors, and despite whatever they say, the auditor will not get his money and the rents in Claycross will not go up, because we are now going back to Claycross now, and there will be a total rate strike indefinitely period.
As we've said all along, we've no intention of paying it anyway.
Even if this means going to jail?
Even if this means going to jail, you know, the same old pattern. We'll go to jail if it means going to jail.
The next move, a government housing commissioner.
We'll put your man out of retirement. He hasn't got the guts to come and do it himself.
I'm not a politician, I'm a public servant.
You're a puppet of his government.
I'm a public servant and I'm not a politician. I've served both governments in my day.
Yes, I know you have. You've served them and you've got a £5,000 retirement pension.
I wish
and
I
you've
had.
come out of retirement.
I wish I had.
Civil servant, scab labour.
Well, which is it? Anyhow, I'm sorry about that interruption. What was it you were saying?
There was no doubt what the council was saying. They refused to give the commissioner house room.